Today, I want to tell you the story of the genius of football who made the world dream. The Brazilian football legend Zico once said, "Football is not just a game, it's an art," and Ronaldinho understood that better than anyone else. Ronaldo de Assis Moreira, better known as Ronaldinho, was one of the best footballers in history. When he touched the ball, it almost seemed like he was painting. Every movement was a dance, a harmony of feints, dribbles, and delicate touches, always accompanied by that smile that made him unique. There was no other way to describe his career except as a living masterpiece. Anyone who had the privilege to see him play knew well that Ronaldinho wasn't just a footballer, he was a true poet of the ball. On March 21, 1980, a child was born in Porto Alegre, in the heart of Brazil, destined to become a global football legend. Ronaldinho grew up in an environment where football was the lifeblood of the family. His father, João de Assis Moreira, an amateur footballer, dreamed of a career he never got to live, but a tragic fate struck his life. When Ronaldinho was just 6 years old, his father died in an accident. It was his mother, Miguelina, a schoolteacher, who raised him with sacrifice, but it was his grandmother, Belisa, who would become the figure that shaped his character and passion for football. From a young age, Ronaldinho stood out for his extraordinary talent. He wasn't just a child who loved playing football, he was an artist, a visionary, who treated the ball as a canvas to paint on. By the age of 7, he was already being noticed for his skill. He started playing in the small fields of Porto Alegre, often barefoot, because the real Ronaldinho didn't need shoes to amaze the world. It was in these places that the legend was born, with his first sombreros and impossible dribbles that left his teammates in awe. In 1997, at just 17 years old, he made his debut for Grêmio, a club that brought him national recognition. Quickly, he became a promise of Brazilian football, and his skill and personality caught the attention of the Brazilian national team. The dream of a child came true in 1999 when, at just 19, he joined the senior national team, winning the Copa America that same year and showcasing his immense talent. In 2001, at just 21 years old, Ronaldinho left Brazil and arrived in Europe, signing with Paris Saint-Germain, a historic club, but not yet one of Europe's giants. He was a young player with extraordinary talent, still to be shaped in the context of European football. Paris, with its vibrant culture and love for football, was ready to welcome a phenomenon. Even though PSG didn't win major trophies during his stay, Ronaldinho quickly became the center of attention, the player who mesmerized the crowd with every touch of the ball. His plays were pure visual ecstasy, feints that left opponents speechless, impossible dribbles that seemed to defy the laws of physics, and passes that bordered on perfection. Every time the ball touched his feet, it felt like time slowed down, as if the whole world stopped to admire the talent of this young Brazilian. PSG fans adored him, but even those watching from afar could tell something special was unfolding. His sublime technique immediately crowned him as one of the purest talents seen in Europe. However, PSG failed to achieve the expected success. Yet, Europe began to pay more attention to Ronaldinho, a footballer who seemed a little out of place at a club that didn't yet know how to reach the elite. He was an artist playing on a stage that didn't do him justice, but his light couldn't stay hidden for long. The turning point came in 2003, when, after a disappointing season, Barcelona, coming off years of struggles, decided to take a chance on him. This marked the beginning of a chapter that would forever change the history of the Catalan club and world football. Ronaldinho became the symbol of Barcelona's rebirth. From that moment, all of European football realized that the magical Brazilian was not just a talent, but a dream maker. Before continuing, if you're enjoying the video, I invite you to like it and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content like this. His arrival at Barcelona wasn't just a contract signing, it was a spiritual renewal for a team that had been chasing an identity for years. Ronaldinho brought with him a freshness that hadn't been seen in a while. a playing philosophy that changed the face of modern football. He wasn't just a footballer, he was a wave of creativity that swept through everything it touched. On the pitch, his presence was magnetic. Every dribble seemed like a moving painting, every pass a stroke of class. The ball seemed to glide over his feet as if it had a special connection with him, a bond no one else seemed to have. And it wasn't just his technique that impressed, it was also his spirit. Ronaldinho played with a smile, as if football were a child's game. No pressure, no torment, just a pure passion for the game. His lightness on the field was his strength. His happy spirit infected his teammates and even the opponents, who couldn't help but admire him. Every dribble was an act of poetry. Every movement a fluid dance, where the ball was the partner and Ronaldinho was the dancer who enchanted the crowd. The epic match against Real Madrid in 2005, when he set the Bernabeu ablaze with a series of impossible dribbles, is the epitome of his talent. A moment when football stopped being just a sport and became pure magic. The Madrid fans, incredulous and captivated, stood up to applaud an opponent, showing absolute respect for a legend being born before their eyes. Ronaldinho was not just a footballer, he was the essence of football itself, a perfect mix of joy, creativity, and natural talent. With his smile and magic, he turned the game into something universal, a language that spoke directly to the hearts of fans all over the world. His style of play was never just about technical ability. It was a life philosophy that dragged Barcelona to conquer titles and hearts. During his time at Barcelona, the Catalan club regained its greatness, winning La Liga, the Champions League, and bringing attacking football back to the center stage. Ronaldinho was not just a part of Barcelona's history, he was the soul of its rebirth, an artist who not only won but made people enjoy the game. For him, football wasn't just about trophies. It was an opportunity to show the world how beautiful playing could be. In 2005, Ronaldinho won his first Ballon d'Or, the award recognizing the world's best footballer, after giving fans an unparalleled spectacle. His 2004-2005 season was simply unforgettable. He led Barcelona to win La Liga, but what struck most was his sparkling play. That Barcelona, thanks to Ronaldinho, played football that seemed like an anthem to beauty. His dribbles, feints, and incredible free kicks became his trademark. And in every match, it seemed like he performed magic. In 2006, the pinnacle of an extraordinary era, Barcelona won the Champions League and La Liga, with Ronaldinho at the heart of that team. It was the beginning of an era that seemed destined to last forever, but like all beautiful stories, Ronaldinho's had its highs and lows. In 2008, after years of dominance and magical performances at Barcelona, Ronaldinho began to feel the weight of time. His body, which had withstood countless challenges and had gifted the world with spectacle after spectacle, started to give way. Injuries became more frequent, and his once impeccable physical condition began to deteriorate. Although his talent was still astonishing, the body that had helped him produce extraordinary plays no longer responded with the same fluidity. But what worried most was another issue: his life off the field. Ronaldinho, the man who had always dazzled with his smile and joy for life, was starting to be seen less on the football pitch and more in nightclubs, where his party-loving lifestyle began to take center stage. It was as if his passion for football, which had made him legendary, was being overshadowed by a new passion: the pursuit of pleasure. Nights out and the constant search for personal enjoyment began to take their toll on his career. The continuous injuries, partly caused by a body that no longer responded like it used to, added to a lifestyle that pulled him further away from his best form. His final season at Barcelona was marked by this dual crisis: the physical and the mental. Despite flashes of brilliance, the Ronaldinho who once enchanted the world no longer seemed to be the same. And so, after 5 seasons of being the undisputed star, Barcelona decided to let him go. It wasn't an easy separation, but time had passed, and the club felt it was time for a new chapter. In 2008, Ronaldinho moved to Milan, another historic club in world football. However, his game was no longer the same one that had won millions of hearts. He still had magical moments, but the player who once seemed unstoppable had lost some of the spark. His time at Milan would be brief, and after a few seasons of ups and downs, he would leave Italy in 2011 to return to Brazil. The best chapters of his career were now behind him, but he still had enough magic in his boots to enchant the world once again. Ronaldinho joined Flamengo, where he won the Copa do Brasil, and later moved to Atlético Mineiro, where he was again the protagonist of unforgettable moments, including the victory in the 2013 Copa Libertadores. But time passes for everyone, even for the geniuses of football. Ronaldinho, in his final years, left the pitch with that same smile and joy with which he entered the hearts of millions. He retired in 2018, but his legacy lives on as one of the greatest players the world has ever seen. A legacy beyond football. Ronaldinho's influence on football cannot be measured solely in titles and statistics. His legacy is about joy, freedom, and love for the game. The way he played made people around the world fall in love with football. He reminded us that football is not just a sport, it is an art form, a celebration of life. Ronaldinho gave us one of the greatest gifts a player can give, the ability to dream. He made us believe that we too could defy gravity with a simple touch of the ball, that we could be free to express ourselves. Today, Ronaldinho lives in the hearts of those who grew up watching him. His iconic tricks, his infectious smile, and the joy he brought to the world are unforgettable. Even though his career is over, his impact remains. He became a symbol of the beauty and purity of the game, a living reminder that football is at its most magical when it's played with love, creativity, and above all, joy. Ronaldinho is no longer just a footballer. He is an icon, a symbol of the spirit of football itself, an unforgettable genius whose legacy will inspire future generations to dream big and play with freedom. Football is the only sport in which you can be free. You must play as if it were the last match of your life, always with a smile. This quote, spoken by Ronaldinho, encapsulates his entire philosophy of life and play. Ronaldinho's magic will never die, because it's not just his talent that makes him eternal, but his way of living and approaching life itself. If you want to continue reliving Ronaldinho's magic, discover more behind-the-scenes moments and exciting stories of football legends, subscribe to our channel. Don't miss the upcoming stories, and let yourself be carried away by the world of those who forever changed the history of football and sport. Subscribe now, because the magic of football continues, and with us, it will never end.